this message finds you exactly where you need to be. Welcome back if you've been here before. Welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Asna Farka, and I'm going to be sharing with you an energy reading today. This is a reading that I do every new moon. So I pulled this reading on the new moon during fire ritual, and I'm going to be sharing it with you today. And the theme of this reading is all about the process we're in right now of really integrating and really letting things go, shedding, and really just letting things die out, and understanding that nothing really dies. It's just going to the Wi-Fi where I am is a bit questionable, so I don't know how this is gonna actually record. Ugh, I don't think it's actually recording right now. I don't know, the timer is not on. Welcome. If you just joined live, can you let me know if it is actually streaming fine? Can you hear and see everything fine? Um, just so I can see. Um, I just made the chat available. So welcome. I see that you're here with us live. Can you just let me know if you can see everything clearly? Because the Wi-Fi is questionable. And before I continue on and actually do this reading, if I may have to figure out another way, um, I'll just go ahead and do that. So if you don't mind just letting me know if the audio and video is showing clearly before I continue on. I'm going to be doing an energy reading as I was saying. I'll continue on. If it says it's reconnecting one more time, I'm probably just going to shut down the stream and then record it and hopefully upload it at some point. So, as I was saying, it's based on ancient African symbolism, so it's not your typical tarot oracle reading. This is based on the natural house systems of our ancient nature-based symbols. So I'm going to show the entire spread of the reading because this is my pyramid reading, or what I call the Merkut reading. Merkut is the Medu Neter, or the ancient language for pyramid. So it's a 10 card spread. I'm going to show you the entire spread. Today we're going to focus on the top 3 cards. That's what I share publicly. If you would like the extended reading, which is the entire reading, all 10 cards, as well as all the other benefits that you can get by joining the Tehuti Militia, then I will put the link in the description so you can join at tehutimaat.org. And without further ado, I'm going to just go ahead and show you the cards. Okay. So this is the full spectrum of the reading. It's a 10 card reading, as I said, and each layer of the Merkut is a different element or aspect of energy. So this is the fire principle. This is the card and the energy that is really informing the entire reading. It's the spark, it's the energy source. Then we go into the air element. This is going to be the mental realm. This is going to be the aspects of the reading that affect your mind and your mental energy. And then we come into the water energy, which is the emotional energy. And then we go into the earth, which is the physical material reality. And this is actually how the energy actually unfolds in our physical lives. So this is more of like that unseen realm, but this is what informs the entire energy that we experience. So I would love to share these first 3 cards with you right now. Okay. So the first card of the reading, first and foremost, I want to let you know that I've cleared the energy today with the angel water. Okay, this is a spiritual spray that I brewed on 11/11. It's called 11/11. It's available at coinsandcaries.com. If you're interested, it clears the energy. It also amplifies and raises the frequency. Water has memory. So the same way that we pour libations and do other things, this is really perfect in certain situations where you can't burn sage. Maybe you can't have smoke. There might be a smoke detector. You can use it in your car to clear the energy after you've had some people in your vehicle. I mean, honestly, you can use it at any point. So that's how I cleared the energy for the reading. But as I said, I used I pulled this reading during a fire ritual. So that's one thing that's very important to me when I do my readings, especially my collective readings. So that being said, we're going into the first element, which is a card that is number one. I always encourage people, my readings are a bit different. I actually use the card system as a way to teach and disseminate sacred wisdom, which I am a sacred wisdom keeper. And I'm also a spiritual warrior, and this is a very important time for us to be activated in our intuitive power. So I want you to go ahead, and anything that comes up for you intuitively, you always want to take note of it. If you're watching the recording, you should pause and take note of anything that comes up for you from the visual of the card. Okay? That's very important. It could be a person, a thing, a circumstance, a thought, a symbol, anything. Your intuition is always going to give you the key to whatever the message is for you in any oracle or divination. So just remove the mysticism, right? Because I'm just a reflection of you. So you got to start exercising that intuition. But I will interpret the card. This card is in the house of the Duat. The Duat is the underworld, or what they call the afterlife, right? That is our ancestral word for it, is Duat. And this is in Medu Neter. As I said, Medu Neter is what people commonly know as the hieroglyphs. Hieroglyph is a Greek term, and our ancient ancestors used the term Medu Neter or Medu Neter, which means divine communication, right? Divine expression. So as we're coming into this card, the card is number one, and the energy is Socar. Anytime you have a card that is number one, you look at the numerology. One is the first number in a sequence. So the number one represents initiations, beginning points, starting, right? So it's a new energy. It's interesting that this is card number one, because what initiates the journey through the Duat, right, which is the underworld, the afterlife, is death. And that is the energy of this card. In the traditional tarot, this would be akin to the death card, honestly, even though this isn't really parallel to the tarot system, but it's the same energy. So I want to talk a bit about the symbolism that's in the card. I'm going to extend deeper into this and share some more of the sacred science for the extended reading. But for right now, I want to point out these two images that are here at the top, okay? So you see the image of this bird. I want to say it's a falcon, right? Two falcons, feminine falcons, because one is carrying the crown of the throne. This is Ast energy. And the other is carrying the house and the basket. And this is Nebetet energy. So these are the two energies of this is the energy of sisterhood up here. These are the energies that are responsible for resurrection. Symbolically in the story, which I'm gonna have to tell right now, if you're not familiar with the story of Ast and Asar, Ast and Asar were considered to be the first leaders of Kemet, what people commonly call ancient Egypt. Kemet, meaning the black land, fertile land, the land of the blacks, right? Or the carbon land, essentially, because Kum, which is the key of the word Kemet, is black, but it's black in the sense where it's actually carbon, because a piece of charcoal was the symbolism of Kum, right? So that blackness is that absorbing quality, that life-giving quality that most of us attribute to a word called melanin, which is a word that's given to us by Europeans. But I love for us to use an ancient word, an ancient vibration for it, which is Kum. So Kemet, the land, was led by Ast and Asar. They were considered to be the first leaders of the land. And they taught the people agriculture, the science of agriculture. Agriculture is so significant because agriculture is the foundation of civilization as we know it today. All of the math, the architecture, all of the sciences, the astrology, astronomy, everything is chemistry, is rooted in agriculture. Because when Ast and Asar brought back this lost wisdom of cultivating the land, they were able to transition humanity back into a state of civilization by being able to be still in one place and not have to be nomadic, and moving from place to place. So that's very significant. And the reason why I'm telling this story is because the mythology of Ast and Asar is essential to African spiritual science. Okay, it's symbolic, it's a micro and a macrocosm. So it's something that's happening on a collective scale, but it's also happening on an individual scale to each of us. It's our internal journey and our spiritual journey of rebirth or resurrection. And this card and the journey through the Duat, through the underworld, is really the expression of that. So a lot of people are familiar with the concept of reincarnation through a Hindu or Asiatic perspective, but not from an African perspective. And this is actually the root of the origins of that concept of reincarnation and rebirth, and knowing that nothing never dies, right? Nothing ever really dies. Okay. If you're watching live, do you mind commenting and just let me know if the audio is fine, if it's recording again, because it was disconnected. The Wi-Fi got disconnected for a second. Okay. So Ast and Asar are the ones who brought this sacred science of agriculture back to the people, to cultivate the land, stay in one place, and begin to observe nature and create all the systems that we now build upon today, right? That I mentioned, all the sacred sciences. But Asar had a brother named Set, Asar and As, because technically they're all siblings. And give thanks, Jiwei, for confirming that it's recording. So I would really love to just, consolidate the story, because it's actually very significant though. So anyway, the Asar has a brother, Set. Set is jealous of his brother because he wants to be the ruler. And he kills his brother, chops his body into 14 pieces, and scatters them. Now, this is when Ast and Nebetet come into play, because Ast and Nebetet, as you see here, are depicted in their astral form, which is why you're seeing them as a bird. This is just the spirit. But in the physical, the way it's normally shown and expressed as these two sisters who come together, they mourn the death of their brother Asar. Ast, who had never consecrated their marriage, had not had any children yet. This is where you get the concept of the virgin birth. She mourns because she doesn't have a child with the love of her life, and he gets killed and chopped up. So the sisterhood comes together to put together the pieces of his body. They find 13 pieces except the 14th piece. The 14th piece is the phallus, or in Medu Neter, it's the henenum. This is his reproductive organ, right? Or his penis, right? I don't like to use that word penis. It sounds very weak to me. So the ancient word for that in Medu Neter is henenum. So the only piece they do not find is the henenum of Asar. But they put all the pieces of his body back together. They bandage him and wrap him. This is where you get this story from the Bible, where Jesus is wrapped and put in this tomb, right? So they put the pieces of his body back together. The 14th piece that could not be found, his henenum, Ast fashions it out of clay. Some people say it's out of stone. Some people say it was fashioned out of wood. Whatever way, she makes a phallic symbol and does this ritual over his body. I actually saw this in the temple of Heteru at Dendera in Kemet when I went, and it shows the body of Ast as a bird overhead over his body doing this ritual. And they say she says the words of power and he resurrects, and he is impregnated and gives birth to their son Heru. Okay, so this is where you get this story of the resurrection, right? This is where the story of Jesus, and this is really the origin and root. Now, this is what you're seeing here, right? You're seeing that story depicted, and you're seeing this protective symbol, and you're seeing this body here, right? These were the first funerary services, right? When you had like the seriousness that was put, because we valued life so much that we gave death just as much significance, because we knew there is no life without death. And that's really what the symbolism of this card is, and what the divinatory meaning of Socar is. Death is necessary, and we must let things die. That is the energy that we're moving into. We're moving into, the sun has just entered into Hatmehit, which we know through the Greek zodiac as Pisces. Pisces energy is the last energy in the wheel of energy, right? And then we go into our moon, which is Aries. Now, because it's the last one, it's where everything is rendered. There's going to be a lot of shedding. It's a lot of consolidating. It's when the veil is completely removed between realms. Everything is whole. We see the oneness. It's a deeply spiritual energy. And that's what we're moving into. And the depths of spirituality are really in the darkness of the mysteries of alchemy and transformation. Okay, that's what this card symbolizes. And it's very important to recognize the season that we're in so that we're able to align with the energy and let things go that no longer serve us, that we no longer need, so that they can transform us, right? Because anytime we're holding on to something, we don't want to let it go, or we just have to let it go because some of us are, we align with the energy and we release when we things are expired. When that happens, it's because we must make space for what wants to make its way into our lives. But there are lessons we have to learn. We have to be prepared for the next level or the next stage, right? The next phase of our life. So everything that we go through happens for us, right? Things, even I know when we're in it, it feels like things are happening to us, especially those difficult circumstances, but it's really happening for us, ultimately to strengthen us. And that's really the message, is to embrace death because it's the beginning of a journey. This is number one, moving through the duats. So I'm going to go ahead and move into the second line, which I said was the air energy. And the first card is kind of the air energy, or the mental energy that is still having an impact on us right now. But it's energy that's kind of behind us, but it's still influencing us now. It's another one card. Again, as I said, if you're watching the recording, just pause and process whatever comes up for you intuitively. This is in the family of Ta, which is the earth. And the energy is Geb, which is literally the earth energy. So ancestrally, Geb, the earth energy, was a masculine. I know now we usually get interpretations where we say Mother Nature, considering it to be Mother Earth. But we saw, as you can see here, the feminine counterpart or complement to Geb, the earth, is the cosmos, is the heavens, and the heavens were feminine. So things have been inverted now, where people are taught to think of a father sky god and a mother earth, right? So that's something that's very significant. But the thing that I want to point out about Nut energy is the fact that it's a womb. The cosmos is a womb. So Geb, the earth, the masculine, is in the feminine. It's in the womb of the cosmos, right? So, and honoring that there's masculine and feminine aspects in all things, right? But predominantly this energy ancestrally was seen as a masculine energy. And you see the goose here, or the duck, with this egg and the mound of the earth. So in the mental realm, this is really connecting us with the material world, the physical reality, this earthly experience. So this means connecting to nature, but also connecting to our bodies, remembering that this is the nature of this reality of this earth. This is what has us here. These are our vessels that we're traveling through the earth with. They're built for this realm, for this earth. They breathe the air. We don't need them anywhere else, right? So even in that first card, when you saw this, you didn't see the body. So you weren't talking about the physical, earthly aspect of these energies. You're talking about the spiritual aspect of this sisterhood coming together, ushering in this death for ultimately a process of rebirth. Okay, so connecting to the earth, connecting to nature mentally, right? Aligning our thoughts and our ideas with nature, tuning into what messages nature is presenting to us. It's very important to be thinking about what creatures or spirit guides, animal totems are coming to you, and what they symbolize and what they represent and what they're communicating and teaching you ultimately. Okay. And then beautifully, the third card is this one, which I want you to go ahead and pause if you need to, so you can intuitively take note of whatever comes up for you intuitively, looking at the symbol. It is in the family house of Neph, which is the wind. It's a 5 card, 5 representing I say it represents power, but it's considered to be change, right? 5 usually represents some type of shift, struggle, a challenge of sorts, which ultimately creates power, but it's the change, right? It's that dynamic of, things having to change. So usually that can be an uncomfortable energy, but it's all about how what our perspective is. And I think that's very important. This energy is Bennu. Bennu is the phoenix. Okay, so again, we're learning the African terminology and the African symbolism for things that we're pretty familiar with. The phoenix. Okay, so this is Bennu, representing the birth. This is another aspect of Asar. Asar is the one who is resurrected and creates the immaculate conception, and his son Heru is born, right? Because he impregnates his wife in spirit, and she gives birth to their son Heru. So this represents giving birth to victory, because ultimately Heru comes and avenges his father's death, battles his uncle Set to take back the throne, which he was the rightful heir of. But he doesn't kill his uncle Set, because Set was considered to be gravity, and gravity is a necessary force, which is why we always have to have both and, right? We need both. So that being said, Set can also be seen as the lower self or the ego, but I want you to think about this energy of Bennu in relation to the first card that we pulled, Socar, right? The death, because the death is for resurrection. The phoenix is what rises from the ashes, but if you do not allow that fire to completely burn down into ash, you don't have that rebirth. So again, this is very significant energy, because it's really, really encouraging us to mentally rebirth our thoughts. This is a time to embrace new perspectives, to really release old belief systems, right? Because we've now moved out of the age of Hatmehit, the age of Pisces. So as we come into this Piscean energy, we're also coming to terms with the Piscean energy that's expired as well, which is the idea of just believing. We now have to replace our belief systems with our knowledge, okay? And that means we still have to believe, but we believe in what we know. Because sometimes we think that we can just replace belief with knowledge and throw away belief, but that's not what we need to do. We're expanding with belief, but now we're rooting that belief with knowledge. So you can know something, but if you don't believe what you know, then you just don't really create that reality. And we have a lot of that. So again, this is about integration. This energy is all about consolidation, things coming together, becoming whole. And it's becoming whole through honoring the process of continuity and wholeness that is death and life, right? You cannot have one without the other. So it's the only consistent thing in life is, or in the universe, is change as we continue to revolve and grow and develop. So I'm gonna leave it at that because it's actually getting dark here. I hope that this recorded clearly and that you're able to listen and receive the oracle. If you want the full reading, that is going to be shared with the Tehuti Militia via the African Rehabilitation Center, aka the ARC. That's the Amos Wilson Collective. So if you are interested in the full reading, you get so many other benefits. You get our Moonly Report, which comes out every moon cycle. So every month we put out a newsletter. I call it the Moonly Report. You get to know everything that's going on within Tehuti Ma'at, our different events, gatherings, services. You get access to our Intuit Healing Ciphers, which are members only now. You get access to any exclusive gatherings that we have, the office hours with the African War College as well. So if you want more information for that, I'm going to be able to put that into the description after the stream is published. I see your message. You're saying you got here late. No worries. This recording is going to be here and you'll be able to go back and watch the beginning of the reading. So depending on the quality of the video, we'll see if I'll be back to clarify. But I thank you so much for your trust. I also want to shout out my sis, Shani at Happy Hands. She's based in Brooklyn. If you're looking for a dope sister who can, these are press-on nails because I don't do the chemicals, but they're so beautiful. And she put some Kemetic symbols on them for me. And she put that sage smoke. And I love them. You know, I haven't had nails on in years, but they really, I like them for the whole reading vibes. It's definitely a thing. So I'm just getting used to them. They are press-ons. She does press-ons. And then she also has a black-owned polish company that is 5 free. So they don't use the most toxic chemicals that are found in nail polishes. And we're going to do a whole artifact on that on hightopsandheels.com, featuring Shani talking about the toxicity of nails and nail polishes and different things that we should definitely know about. So, yeah, stay tuned for all that good stuff and support the work that we're doing. You can find out more at tehutimaat.org, and I'll put all of those links in the description, in the bio. Please like and subscribe to support the channel as well, and share this with anyone that you think would be interested in this energy reading. All right, Power Family, travel light, blessed.